And she was really pretty, Mommy, Emma said between bites of pasta. She had long red hair, and Daddy bought her a sparkly necklace. My husband David's face turned ghostly pale. He tried to steady his hands, pretending to focus on his untouched plate, but our 8-year-old daughter had just casually exposed the secret he thought he was hiding so well. Emma, sweetie, you must be mistaken, he said, forcing a smile and darting nervous glances my way. I was at work all day. Emma shook her head cheerfully. No, Daddy. I saw you. Grace's mom took us to the mall after school, and you were at the jewelry store with the pretty lady. I set my fork down slowly, keeping my voice calm. David, you haven't touched your dinner. Is something wrong? My name is Catherine, I'm 35, and I was watching my 10-year marriage unravel over spaghetti and meatballs. But unlike David, who was now practically sweating through his dress shirt, I wasn't shocked. I'd known for 2 months. It started with the usual signs: late nights at work, sudden weekend meetings, new interest in evening gym visits. The final straw: our joint credit card statements. Fancy dinners, hotel stays disguised as conferences, and jewelry purchases I never received. I'd quietly started preparing. I hired the best divorce attorney in the city. Together we documented everything: financial records, suspicious transactions, even hiring a private investigator for photographic proof. I opened new bank accounts, secured my assets, and began moving forward. Silently, strategically. Emma, why don't you go play for a bit? David said, voice tight. Daddy needs to talk to Mommy. But I'm not finished, she pouted. That's okay, sweetheart, I said gently. You can finish. Your father and I will talk later. David looked at me, panicked. I smiled and turned to Emma. So, how was school today? He had no clue that while he was off planning romantic getaways with his red-headed mistress, I was building a case. And Emma, bless her innocent heart, had become my most unexpected ally. Her sweet comments had dropped clues for weeks. Daddy with Grace's mom. Daddy laughing with a lady in red hair. Daddy at the mall. The lady called Daddy sweetie, too, Emma added, still focused on her pasta. Just like you do, Mommy. They laughed a lot. David stood abruptly, his chair screeching. I need some air. He headed for the back door. David, I called out smoothly. Don't forget, you promised to help Emma with her science project tonight. The one about family trees. He froze at the door. The same project due tomorrow. The same class Melissa's daughter, his mistress's child, attended. The same Melissa who worked as his assistant. The same Melissa he thought I didn't know about. I'll be back soon, he muttered before vanishing into the night. After dinner, I tucked Emma into bed and reviewed the final email from my attorney. Everything was ready. The documentation, the financial evidence, the photos. Tomorrow, David would be served at work, right in front of his beloved Melissa. Later that night my phone buzzed. David, working late tonight. Don't wait up. I smiled and replied. Me, of course, honey. Oh, and Emma did a great job on her family tree project. She even added a picture of you and Melissa from the mall. Her teacher will love it. There was a long pause. Then my phone started ringing. I let it go to voicemail. As CEO of my own marketing firm, I had protected my company's assets and tracked every dollar David funneled into his affair. While he climbed the corporate ladder, I built an empire, and now I was protecting it. 20 minutes later, the front door burst open. David stormed in, his face flushed. Catherine, we need to talk. I looked up from my laptop, cool and composed. About what? Yes. About your affair. About how you used our joint account to buy her gifts. About how our daughter innocently told me everything over dinner. He gaped, mouth opening and closing like a fish. I can explain. Save it for your lawyer, I said, returning to my screen. You'll be hearing from mine tomorrow. The next morning I made Emma breakfast, packed her lunch and dropped her at school. Business as usual. David sat in the kitchen, rumpled and sleepless on the couch, watching helplessly. Catherine, please, he said quietly as I gathered my files for work. But I had nothing more to say. We can work this out, David said desperately. It was a mistake. Check my watch. 8:45 a.m. Perfect timing. A mistake. I echoed, arching a brow. Like booking the Ritz-Carlton on our anniversary weekend. Just not with me? Or using our family vacation fund to buy Melissa a tennis bracelet? His face drained of color. How did you? Oh, David. I gave a tight smile as I picked up my briefcase. I know everything. And in about 15 minutes, your entire office will too. I hadn't built my marketing firm from scratch without learning the art of timing. As I pulled out of the driveway, my phone pinged. A message from my attorney. His associate had just entered David's building. Right on schedule. Seconds later, my phone rang. David. Probably just realizing what was about to hit him. I silenced the call and headed to my office, where my team was preparing for a major client presentation. I wasn't about to let his drama bleed into the professional empire I'd built. By 10 a.m. my phone was flooded, with messages not just from David but his entire family. His mother, Margaret, had left a tearful voicemail filled with dramatic blame. How could you humiliate our family like this? David is a good man. He made one mistake. One mistake. That's what they all called it. Not the months of deception. Not the thousands funneled into an affair. Not the way he smiled at our daughter every night while lying to both of us. Just one mistake. My assistant Sarah poked her head in. Your mother-in-law is in the lobby. Want me to call security? I sighed, closing my laptop. No. I'll handle it. Margaret Davis stood like a statue in the lobby, clutching her designer bag, face stiff with outrage. How dare you, she hissed the moment she saw me. Serving him at work. In front of everyone. Would you have preferred I did it at your country club? Said coolly. Or maybe at your next family dinner. Right after you're done criticizing my career and toasting David's brilliance. She pressed on, ignoring me. He told me everything. About how you're always working. How you care more about your business than your family. No wonder he found comfort elsewhere. I let out a dry laugh. Comfort. Is that what we're calling it now? I stepped closer. Since David told you everything, did he also mention draining our joint accounts? Or trying to access Emma's college fund last week? That stopped her. David had always been her golden boy. The flawless, ambitious son who could do no wrong. He wouldn't. Check your phone, I said, gesturing toward her purse. The photos should be circulating already. Your son being served in the office. Standing next to Melissa. I hear Melissa's husband got his copies this morning too. Margaret slowly sat down, her righteous fury deflating. For a second I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. You know what the saddest part is? I said, voice calm but steel-edged. I could have handled the truth. But he chose lies. Gaslighting. Making me feel like I was crazy. All while parading around with his mistress in public, not even caring that his own daughter might see them. Margaret's face softened as she whispered. Emma. She's confused, I replied. She saw her daddy buying jewelry for her friend's mom. She doesn't understand yet, but one day she will. I straightened my jacket. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a company to run. And you might want to check on David. I hear he's not having the best morning. Right on cue my phone buzzed. A news alert. Someone had leaked the story. Senior executive served divorce papers in office affair scandal. A grainy photo below showed David, frozen mid-expression, Melissa beside him, clearly panicked. Margaret stared at her own screen, her face crumpling. Without another word, she gathered her things and hurried out, off to do damage control for her good man. I returned to my office where Sarah handed me a coffee and a knowing smile. Your lawyer called, she said. David's trying to access your joint accounts. Let him try. I sat down at my desk, calm and focused. They're all frozen. Amazing what banks will do when you show them proof of financial betrayal. The rest of my day moved on, meetings, calls, deadlines. focused on my business. On the life I was building for me and Emma. Not the mess unraveling across town. When I left to pick up my daughter, I noticed 3 missed calls from David's lawyer, and 1 long text from Melissa. I deleted it without reading. Emma was quiet in the back seat, holding her family tree project in her lap. As we pulled into the driveway, she finally spoke. "Mommy." "Yes, sweetheart." "Sarah's mom said her daddy did something bad, and now they don't live together anymore. Is that going to happen to us?" I parked the car and turned to face her, heart aching but voice steady. The real battle was just beginning, and I needed to be ready for it. "Sometimes, sweetie," I said carefully, watching Emma's eyes in the rearview mirror, "grown-ups make choices that change everything. But no matter what happens, you'll always be loved. Always." She nodded slowly, her small face serious. "Can we have pizza for dinner?" I smiled, struck by her innocence and resilience. "Yes, sweetheart. Pizza and maybe ice cream too." As we walked into the house, I saw David's car pulling into the driveway. Round 2. But this time I wasn't scared. I wasn't scrambling. I was ready, had always been ready. David stood at the door, disheveled in his normally flawless suit. "Catherine, please. Just give me 5 minutes." I glanced toward the living room. Emma was already settling down with her homework. 5 minutes. Outside. We stepped onto the porch. I kept a measured distance between us. The man I'd spent a decade building a life with now looked like a stranger. His mask shattered by his own choices. "You've ruined everything," he said, voice sharp, hands pulling at his hair. "My reputation. My career. Melissa's husband is threatening to sue the company." I let out a short laugh. "I ruined everything. Tell me, David, when did I force you to sleep with your assistant? When did I make you drain our family's savings or lie to our daughter?" "It wasn't like that," he snapped. "Melissa and I. It just happened. We were working late." "Spare me the clichés," I cut in, voice cool. "I'm not interested in your justifications. I'm only here to talk about custody and the division of assets. Through lawyers." His face twisted. "You think you're clever, don't you? Planning all this behind my back. Making me look like a fool at work. You forget I know things. About your company. Things your clients wouldn't like to hear." I pulled out my phone, scrolling briefly before holding it up. "You mean the confidential files you tried to access last week?" I tilted my head. "Check your email, David. You'll find a cease and desist letter from my corporate attorney." His mouth fell open. "You knew. I built my business from the ground up," I said evenly. "Of course I knew. Did you really think I wouldn't notice when my own husband tried to steal from me?" From inside I could hear Emma's voice. She was probably on the phone with Margaret, who was likely in full crisis mode. David's shoulders slumped. His arrogance dissolved into something hollow. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. "Money. The house." "I want what's fair," I replied. "And I want you to be a better father than you were a husband. Emma deserves that much." As if summoned by her name, Emma peeked out the door. "Mommy, can we order the pizza now?" "Oh, hi, Daddy." The air turned thick. David tried to smile, but it came out as a grimace. "Hi, Princess. How was school?" "Fine." She looked down, suddenly shy. "We didn't share our family trees today. Teacher said we'll do it tomorrow instead." David flinched, and I saw him remember the project that had cracked his whole facade wide open. "Emma, go pick the toppings you want." "I'll be right there," I said gently. When she disappeared back inside, I turned to him one last time. "The lawyers will be in touch about custody. Until then, find somewhere else to stay." "This is my house too," he barked. I pulled another folded document from my coat pocket. "Actually, it's not. Remember the refinancing meeting you couldn't attend last month? You signed a stack of papers without reading. One of them was a quitclaim deed." His face turned purple. You can't do this." "I already did," I said. "Now if you'll excuse me, I promised our daughter pizza. I closed the door on him and with it, the weight I'd been carrying for months. That evening, once Emma was asleep, I sat on the back porch with a glass of wine. My phone buzzed. My attorney. David has officially left the property. His lawyer's reaching out to begin settlement talks. Another ping, Melissa. A long, rambling apology I didn't care to read. I deleted it without a second thought. Her guilt wasn't my burden. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. There'd be questions from Emma, gossip in the office, damage control from David's family. But for the first time in months I felt at peace. Then my phone rang. Grace, Emma's friend's mother. The one who had unknowingly witnessed the affair. "Catherine," she said softly, "I just wanted you to know, you did the right thing. I saw them that day at the mall, and I didn't know how to tell you." Emma just blurted it out. "Thank you, Grace," I said. "Sometimes our kids see things more clearly than we do." After we hung up, I sat in the stillness of the night, looking up at the stars. It wasn't the life I'd planned. But maybe it would be better, stronger, real. Inside on the kitchen table, Emma's family tree project still lay open. Tomorrow she'd share a new version of her family story. Not the perfect one, true one. And sometimes that's the most important story of all.